everybody, Adam here. So today's topic is cardio, and in particular, it is cardio inspired by Bruce Lee. So Bruce Lee is one of the huge figures that I loved when I first got into lifting. Um, I basically wanted to be him. At the time I was basically 140 pounds, so I imagined myself being that skinny little jack dude, just like Bruce Lee. And so I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of reading. I bought some of his books. I found everything I could. I tried to train like him. Obviously, I had no clue what I was doing when it came to fighting. I was not a fighter. And but I tried to mimic his training style for his strength and conditioning type stuff as much as I could. And so one of the things that he did have a huge place for in his workouts was cardio. And specifically, he did a lot of work on the stationary bike. Now, nowadays, commonly, what we see is that people mock the bike. It's seen as, not as good. And yes, the bike burns fewer calories. The bike tends to have less of a cardiovascular effect than something like running, for example. But one of the cool, amazing things about the bike is that it's, basically no impact, very low impact compared to running. So, there's been a lot of discussion about interference effect, about, cardio kills gains and, that kind of BS. And it doesn't. The studies have shown that there is an interference effect, but it primarily happens with large quantities of distance running, which is to say that it happens primarily with running and not with any other, kind of cardiovascular activity. So you can do plenty of other kinds of cardiovascular activity without having any issue. That includes your cycle, that includes your elliptical, that includes doing walks at an incline on the elliptical, or sorry, not on the elliptical, on the treadmill. That means that, sled drags. That means that, putting on a weight vest and doing walks. All of these are different ways of getting in an amount of cardio, while of course minimizing the amount of impact on your joints. Now, of course, Bruce Lee still did a lot of traditional cardio. He still did a lot of running as well. But it's kind of funny because I remember when I saw that, when I was first, getting into fitness, I was kind of like, oh, why was he hopping on the bike? What was the point of that? How did that help? And, nowadays I look at my own training, training for strength, and I see, that I'm primarily doing the bike and I'm primarily doing incline walks. That's about the two primary cardio sources that I use. So, it's kind of funny to see how these things, wrap right back around. How you start off thinking one thing and then you end up, kind of returning to the basics. You kind of return to, the simple, not flashy stuff that works for everyone and has worked for a really long time. You can look at essentially, these exercise manuals from the early 1900s, from, the 1920s, the 1950s, whatever, and they give a lot of the same recommendations. Yes, there's some weird stuff in there that, has since been culled out over time. I remember there was like a strongman manual from the early 1900s, and like the kind of crap that they were recommending for eating is not just, stuff that we don't have, like stuff that we don't have access to today. Like really weird sort of, like very specialized food things that, that we just don't have access to today. Do they do the trick? Yeah, certainly. If it hits all the same macros, yeah, that would certainly work. But at the same time, you look at today's bodybuilders, for example, the whole chicken and rice and broccoli BS, and you kind of see, you kind of think similarly. Oh yeah, like it's just kind of the way people did things. They can be done differently. There are other ways to do it, but most people tend to kind of follow certain fads. That's all there is to it. There's fads. There's fads throughout history. But there is simple, basic stuff that, always comes back around, always continues working. And, that's just another lesson we can learn from Bruce Lee today. So, quick, simple, short, that is our video for today. As always, like, comment, share. Tell me what you want to see in future videos. I will talk to you guys next time. Have a good one.